Jay, when we spoke after the game, you just kind of laid out the week, how it was going to look for you guys. I'm just curious how it's gone as you guys get prepared for Sunday.
It's going good. This was the opportunity to give them some extra rest. So we played on Monday.
Yep.
Played on Monday, gave them Tuesday off for practice Wednesday, gave them yesterday off, and then we'll start our prep for Florida today. And we'll get ready for that. So today, and then we practice tomorrow, travel, get up there, and then get ready.
Just what you've seen from Florida, if you could kind of assess what you've seen. Obviously, it's a somewhat new team from last year, but so many new guys, or same guys, different roles, but just your thoughts.
I think that's the biggest thing is like all these teams this year. You have some retention, but then also you have so much new. And, they lost 3 premier guards to the NBA. And they got 2 premier guards out the portal. And I think there's new in the season. Everybody's still getting to learn each other. But the one thing from them that you see is consistent is just their speed at which they play, their pace, playing in transition, their aggressiveness on the boards, both offensively and defensively, and then just their physicality and their points in the paint, which is a big part of what they do.
Just the challenges that facing Thomas Houck with what he can do, and he obviously looks he's continuing from end of last season. But
he is, and it's a testament to him and his work and his development, where he's gone from a forward to a perimeter player this year. And they're playing him primarily at the 3, and it's made him even bigger, which is shocking to say. But when you put him and Condon and Chinaloo out there, they have great size. So just, him and his development and the praise he's been getting is definitely he's earned it from his play and what he's been able to do these first couple of games. So, he presents a lot of challenges just because of his size and how they use him. But it's our job to come up with a game plan to how to stop him.
You've talked about, you said after the game too, how could your guys not be excited? Of course, they're going to be. A lot of veterans that have played against big teams. What do you think your team's approach will be on Sunday as they get ready, understanding who they're playing, but also maybe not making it too big?
Exactly. I think that's the biggest thing, is that we play to a certain standard and we don't play to an opponent. So it doesn't matter if it's Florida or if it's Jacksonville. I think the things that we believe and the things that we feel is true in our program and what we're building and developing here should stay consistent no matter what. But I'm also not going to sit here and be Joe Coach and not think there's any extra emotion into the game against Florida, and understanding it's an in-state rival and defending national champions. So part of me and my staff's job this week is just trying to keep it as normal and as consistent as possible, to where it's just another game in that sense, but also understanding that there is going to be some emotion tied into the game because it is our first opportunity against another high major conference team on national TV. So understanding that's going to be a part of it as well.
Coach, how difficult is it, just from coaching staff's vantage point, of having that balance between between preaching to your team, this is a normal game, and also, but at the same time, this is reigning national champions, top 10 team. Just how do you go about, kind of striking that balance?
Well, I think it's just a step up in competition, and a step up in competition in the sense of just the size, the athleticism, the discipline and attention to detail they play with. So you really have to play with the same level or exceed it if you want a chance to compete in the game. And so getting them to understand that and playing to what we preach and what we practice every day, I think is the biggest part of the game. And if we're able to do that, then we'll be able to be competitive and hopefully give yourself a chance to win at the end.
And then your team, I think, is 3rd or 4th nationally in team assists per game. Just how pleased have you been with the total ball movement so far?
I've been very pleased. It's the one thing that you always worry about as a coach, when especially assembling a new team. And you can talk about it, you can practice it, you can drill it, you can do whatever, but you don't know until you play games. And so I think that's one of the biggest things that we have carried over from the summer and the fall, is just going from good to great. Be giving up yourself to find someone else who may have a better shot at being okay with it, and then celebrating each other's success is a big part of it as well.
Coach, you talked about how defensively you might not be where you want to be right now,
right.
But offensively you have. What challenges does Florida present offensively that might cause your defense in trouble?
I think the one thing you watch them on film, and it's always true when you play really good teams, is their pace on film is very fast. So that means in person it's even faster. With the ability, their speed they cut with, their ability to go from one action to the next action. So it's really going to put a lot of pressure on our communication and our talk. And it's one of the things that I've been harping on and preaching on that has to get better. We have to do a better job of communicating on the defensive end. And the pace they play with and some of the stuff they run, you have to really communicate at a high level if you want a chance to stop them and slow them down. So that's the one thing. And then, of course, just their offensive rebound. I think they're getting 23 a game, offensive rebounds and 21 second chance points. It's a big key of why they are who they are. So stepping up to that fight and being able to compete, and 5 guys rebounding is a big part of it.
You've also been playing a lot with your depth recently.
Yeah.
Just how important are they going to be in this game, and how many bodies you might actually need because of the physicality that they use?
I mean, everybody has to be ready. I think, like you said, because of the physicality, because of the pace of the game's going to be played at, because we want to play fast and we're going to still try to do what we do. You know, we're not stopping what's made us good and who we think we are. You know, we're going to fight for that. So just coming in and everybody's ability to come in and contribute right away is going to be big. Now, you don't know, like these first couple of games, guys that play kind of extended minutes off the bench in their role and maybe cut a little bit shorter or maybe more. You got to wait till you get to the game to see how it's played, but everybody's got to be ready.
And to piggyback on the defensive end as well, just what are some of those areas that you and your staff have noticed that you think kind of need a little fine tuning or just need a little improvement for the rest of the season?
Yeah, you know, one thing, like I talked about, just our communication, our talk, and you can get away with some stuff in some games that you're not able to get away with as you start to grow in the season. So getting them to understand that. Part of that leads to your coverages. So ball screen coverage, you know, part of the lack of communication makes the ball screen coverage bad. So that's one thing. And then just the one thing we always want to do is protect the paint and keep the ball out of the paint. So as much as we can protect the paint and be in rotations and be in our gaps and eliminate some of those driving lanes and penetration gaps, we want to. So those 3 things, I think, as we start to grow and become the team I feel we can be, those will be the things that make a big jump.
Can you talk more about True and just him constantly stealing the ball at the point that he's going right now?
Yeah.
But high-level guard play across from him on Sunday. Just how do you see him helping the team in that aspect and just leading on the defensive side of the ball?
I think, you know, I've always challenged him, and I've always said this, even watching him. I've known him since he was young. I feel that he can be one of the best defensive guards in the country. Now, I got to get him to fully buy into that too, which is a big part of coaching him. But if he saw himself as that, he can be. With his size, with his athleticism, with his strength, with his ability to switch and guard multiple positions, he can do it. And now my thing is not for him to do it in spurts, but to do it for 40 minutes. When he starts to consistently put it together for 30, 40 minutes or however long he's out there, he's a big part of why our defense will make a big jump and why I think we can be one of the best defensive teams in the country.
What's your message to the team as far as, I mean, because you guys play very aggressively defensively, but just how do you, again, strike that balance between playing aggressive at the same time, staying disciplined with your rotations and your coverages? Just how do you message that to your team to kind of have that balance between the two?
You gotta be ahead of the ball. You can't play from behind. And one phrase that we use here is like when the ball moves, you move. So you gotta jump to the ball. And the best defensive teams are ahead of the ball and are on a string. Now, when we're delayed or we're being a little bit lazy and the ball moves and we're still in the same spot and haven't moved, that's where our principles and our discipline falls. And we have to do a much better job of being ahead of the ball. And that's one thing that I really preach, because if we are ahead of the ball with our size, our athleticism, we'll be able to take away a lot of stuff. But right now, we're not there yet. And we'll get there. And I've seen it. And this is just part of our next growth, so we'll get to see against Florida where we are. But that's where we got to get to, where we've got 5 guys playing ahead of the ball.
Jay, the other day you had a few guys got a couple fouls early in the game. Ernest was one of those guys.
Yeah.
Obviously the game went the way it went, but just stressing this in a game like this, obviously Ernest got to be on the floor,
Yeah.
foul trouble. Just in particular with Ernest, how's he been doing with fouls, playing with physical without fouling, but
Yeah.
also the importance for all your guys to essentially be on the floor?
Well, you know, this Ernest, plays like he's a guard sometimes. And he's out there reaching and slapping, and I'm telling Ernest, you're 6'10", they're going to see it. Some of this stuff you can't get away with. So I think it's part of just building the discipline, but I also think it comes from we're not ahead of the ball, and we're playing from behind a lot on defense. And when you're playing from behind, it leads to fouls, it leads to breakdowns, it leads to being late in coverages and stuff. And when you're doing that, it tends to get a lot of people in foul trouble. Because someone's now trying to over-help or over-rotate. That's not supposed to be their job, and it just puts them in a situation of something bad happening. And so getting everybody to play ahead of the ball, and Ernest being a big thing with him being in coverage, ball screen coverage, dribble handoffs, all this other stuff, he's one of the main culprits of playing behind the ball. So just showing them this, teaching it, drilling it, making sure we get to the point where it's something he understands.
Good time for a couple more.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about, you touched on their pace of play.
Yeah.
I'm curious about their backcourt. Obviously, both guys can handle it. They're not
Yeah.
shooting it the way they had in the past or would like to, obviously.
Right.
Your guys with True and Tre defensively, I'm just curious your thoughts on those kind of 2-on-2, kind of just how you see it and kind of the intriguing both ends of the floor.
Yep. I think it's the one thing that is the unknown for both teams, is the best way to put it, because they have two new guards who are replacing, and like you said, they're really good guards, but they just haven't, and knock on wood, I hope they don't on Sunday, but they just haven't played like they can play. Like Boogie Flan, it was one of the best freshman guards in the country last year. Zagan Lee's been an Ivy League Player of the Year caliber player the last couple of years. So you know what they're capable of, and they've showed it in spurts this year. And I feel my guards are just as good. I like Tre and I like True, and Dante, you know what I mean, in these battles with them. So it's just going to be who can kind of become themselves and stay themselves the most. I like our matchup with our physicality, and being able to play downhill and being able to guard and pressure and being who we are. I like the matchup, to be honest with you, because I like my guards.
And then we haven't talked about Malik. I'm sure he's looking forward to this one, as everybody. But just the challenge for him, what you guys need from him. You've talked very highly about what you need from him.
Yeah.
Just kind of his approach going into this one.
Same thing. I need him to be who he has been and continue to be. I don't need him to play to the moment. I don't need him to be caught up in the emotion of the game, which he will be. They all will be. So we got to keep them as settled as possible, but he just needs to do what he has done. Of course, it's going to be some bigger bodies, so you got to adjust a little bit, but what we're asking him to do, we're not going to ask him to do anything different. We're going to ask him to do what he's been done, and it's my job to find the moments and the places and the spots in the game where I think he can be effective, because some stuff that might have worked in these first 3 games may not work against Florida. So it's the ability to move him around the court, put him in different areas to find out where he can be successful.
Coach, you get
Last
to
one.
see Dante and Shelton finally take this massive step up.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen their game slow down to the point where they're going to be ready to attack where they need to go?
Not yet. Not yet. And it's 18-year-old kids, first 3 games of college basketball, so it's not there yet. They've done a great job. I talked about it for both of them. They had great summers, great preseason, great fall, and the games are different. The games are different. There's a lot more mental stuff that goes into playing the game than practice. But they both have shown, like Dante showed in the second game, just his ability to get downhill and his response. And I think Shelton showed in the first and the third game, just what he's been able to do in limited minutes. He's been in foul trouble a lot. He hasn't been able to play extended minutes, and he's been able to still have an impact on the game. I think the biggest thing in watching both those guys in this game is just how hard and how long can they compete at the level of the game of where it's going to be, and for how many minutes consistently can they do it. Like if Shelton's going to be a person who plays, let's just say 32 minutes in this game, of these 32 minutes, he's got to be a high level for all 32. And if he's able to do that, for his first time in this moment, will be something big. And the same with Dante, in his minutes, and he comes off the bench, and for his 20-plus minutes that he'll be out there, how hard can he compete and how long can he stay engaged? This game is going to be our first emotional wear of a game where they're going to get tired in the first minute just because the adrenaline and stuff is a little bit more than expected. So understanding that and making sure we have our subs and our kind of rotations more, I guess, figured out than they have these first 3 games. It's just different levels of stuff that you just have to worry about when you get into these conference level games.
Chris,
Jay-
to wrap us up.
Yeah, I just want to ask you, this matchup, Miami and Florida, hasn't happened very often. I just want to get your take on hoping to see this more often, or
Yeah, this is something one of the first things I wanted to do when I got the job. I just think the importance of the in-state rivalry between, the state school, Florida, and they just happen to have been really good the last couple of years and win the national championship. For me, this is something I want to do every year. And we've talked about it with them, and we're still trying to, I guess, iron out some of the details, but just rotating it through the state. So starting in Jacksonville and going to like Orlando or Tampa or, Sunrise, just going throughout the state and playing this game every year, I think it's important, for both programs. And just bringing basketball to the forefront in Florida, it's a big part of it as well. And just going all over the state and promoting the game, promoting the rivalry. They're really good. They will be really good. I think we're really good, and I know we'll be really good moving forward. So why not?
and if I could, we didn't ask your time at Florida as a player, just memories, thoughts.
Yeah, it will always hold a special place in my heart because I did go there and start my college career there, and spend some time there, and it was always good to me. And I understand, the brand and the university and the city and everything that goes with it. I still, will consider myself part Gator, but more Longhorn than anything. But it was always a special place and a good place to me. So I have no bad feelings about it, except I just want to beat them on Sunday.
Ernest, just 3 games in, just kind of how would you assess where this team is right now?
Obviously, without being said, you guys, all of us, we for sure know there's more work to be done. But for as far as where we are right now, I feel great. Like I said earlier, this season in the summer too, the one thing we control is our energy and our effort. Since we're obviously going to be a defensive-oriented team, that's really all it comes down to, how hard we're going to play night in and night out. So again, for where we are right now, again, March is a long way, and that's all we play for. I feel like we're in a great spot.
Just the challenges, obviously, on Sunday, front line especially. You can speak on that. We've noticed, and how much work you've or preparation you've done before the summer off season of kind of paying attention to this one.
Yeah, going into Sunday, we already know what to expect. Pretty sure you heard Coach already say it's going to be a fight, not even a basketball game. But you look at the roster, obviously us older guys, Malik and me, even the freshmen, they understand it too. And I've said it before, we have no little kids on our team, and it's just all grown men. So again, going into Sunday, we're ready to fight, ready to war, claw, scratch, obviously bleed, you know what I'm saying? So for me, being from Florida, it's a great opportunity for me, but I'm too excited. I'm so excited. Again, they're ranked, obviously, and like Coach said, this is an opportunity for us to go out, show our team and ourselves, where we're at, but also show the nation, make a statement going out there to play. So.
How much are you personally looking forward to the matchup? Front line, not just with Ruben, or just the other guys, everything that they have?
Of course, obviously, it doesn't matter who we're playing, night in and night out. Any 5 that lines up against me, it's just always, for me, it's always personal. It doesn't matter what your stat line is or just anything. I just go out there looking at it like, maybe in your mind you think you're better than me or not, and it's like, I take that personally. Even if you don't even say anything to me, it doesn't matter how the game turns out, it doesn't matter how the game's going, I always take that personal, so.
Coach said last game you were dealing with a little bit upper body thing is the way he said it. Just wondering how you're doing, how you're feeling.
Yeah, I feel good. I feel great. Obviously, Coach saying that I for me, I hate whenever I feel like I didn't do great or do well in the sense, I hate making excuses, regardless if the quote unquote excuse is obvious as can be. But for me, it's like if I'm going out there, I want to be out there, play, not making any excuse, feeling like I can go 100%. Because if I can't, I just simply won't be out there. But like I said, as of right now, I feel great. Just looking forward to Sunday.
Ernest, this is a defensive-minded team, as you said. This question's for both of y'all. Just what have you thought of the defensive progress of this team through the first 3 games?
Great. Even in the summer, everything that we built up on, going into games doesn't matter if we're hitting threes, scoring. We understand that defense turns into easy offense for us. And like I said, we don't want to sit there and run plays. We want to get out in transition. borderline make it attract me at our pace against the other team and just make it easy for us. So I just feel like going into this game, I mean, the message isn't going to change. Just get stops, get kills, and just stack on it.
And then Trey, what do you think of the defense progress for the first 3 games of this team?
It's going to continue to grow. I feel like with different teams playing different ways, different styles, having different players on the floor, it's going to throw a lot of different stuff at us. So, I mean, that's just being able to stick to our principles and hang our hat on the defensive side. I feel like it's going to be really big for us, and I feel like we've taken a lot of good steps in that direction.
And then also, I mean, offensively, you guys have played against 3 different styles of defense so far. Just how beneficial has that been for your overall, progress offensively? You see 3 different looks in your first 3 games.
People going to throw all types of stuff at you. So, I mean, when you're least expecting it and when you've been able to respond the way we have with the defenses that have been thrown at us, I feel like we've done a really good job with that. So, I mean, just going in the game, just not trying to look at what the team's going to do, but when they do it, on how we're going to respond offensively and just flow into our normal stuff.
Trey, for you, you had a career night against Stetson, especially facilitating the ball. Jay talked about how he wanted you to be a better true point guard instead of just a scoring guard. How have you seen that progress over these last 3 games?
I've always been a really good playmaker, so I mean, like you said, like a true point guard, and that comes from a leadership standpoint as well, not necessarily just my passing and stuff like that. So I mean, I feel like I've taken a lot of leaps and bounds just from that mental aspect of being a true point guard, what it looks like to lead the other 4 guys on the floor, and what it looks like to make the other 4 guys on the floor even better in the aspects that they're good at. So I mean, just embodying it and then just continuing to learn from mistakes and good things that I'm doing. So I mean, just being open-minded with it for sure has helped me a lot.
But for you, Ernest, Coach talked about how he wants Malik playing at All-American level. Trey to be a true point guard. What was that challenge that he set out for you at the beginning of the season?
Obviously coming in, there was obviously huge expectations for me. Obviously, Coach didn't recruit me for no reason. First time in the portal, he wanted me over at Duke. So obviously, finally being able to, play under him, obviously it's been a blessing first and foremost. But I mean, just coming in, just you look at my strengths and everything that I'm good at and what I could bring to this team. Obviously going out and getting double-digit rebounds every night, putting up high block numbers every night. Obviously, my defensive presence is something that coaches told me multiple times before. For us to go where we want to go and go as far as we want to go, it's going to come down to me and how well I can be on the defensive end, and just being that anchor for us as a team. So again, night in and night out, my mentality just always remains the same. Not even looking to put up crazy numbers offensively, but again, just what can I do this night? And I mean, even in practice too, how can I just always be getting better defensively and just, whether it be ball screen coverage, switching, or just simply protecting the rim. How can I be better night in and night out to give my team the best chance of just getting stops over and over.
Ernest, through watching film and preparation for this game, just what stands out about this Florida team?
Like Coach even said, just how their size. Obviously, up to this point, they're finally going to be somebody who, kind of matches up with us with our physicality and size. And again, like I said, for us, it's just going to be another test. You guys still got a long season ahead of us, even with this game coming around. But again, it's just going to do nothing but help us get better. Obviously, there's a specific outcome we're looking forward to. And I mean, again, we're not going there just to play or just to see where we're at. We're going there to win a basketball game, So I feel like just everyone on the team, the roster, the staff, we're excited for this moment and we're prepared for it.
And then Trey, same sort of question, just what stands out about this Florida team through watching them on film, especially, what they have going on in the backcourt?
The togetherness as a team really stands out. And it's a new team, a newer team, and it's the backcourt. So, like you said, their size, things of that nature, but nothing that really has come out yet. We haven't really watched much of them quite yet.
Trey, what's it been like playing with True in the backcourt, in the games, just kind of how you guys are kind of continuing to build your connection together?
It's been fun. Just the defensive side of the ball, I feel like it's been really fun. And then just offensively, us getting to know each other and just me helping him, showing him where he's going to get his shots from playing with a point guard like me, and just his ability to get downhill and stuff like that. So, just trying to gel as good as possible together and to continue to hang our hat and be those dogs on the defensive end that this team needs.